PPRC, NCRA, statistics, the police, police complaints independently are all players that are actively and directly involved with election systems, monitoring and management. And our goal as a government is to ensure that not just do we have free and fair elections, but the processes leading up to elections, during elections, after elections, have as many injustices, as few injustices as possible, but also that improved efficiency. So the reason why we're here today is for us to, me as lead negotiator for government, to come during that committee. The committee did its work and it finished and it submitted a report to His Excellency. That's where Dr. Gaima, who's now our SP, that's where his work ended, because he was the tripartite committee, the co-chair from government. We took that to cabinet, to report to cabinet after it was handed over to His Excellency. And we made several prayers to cabinet. One was for cabinet to receive the report, so the government is ready and has officially received the report. The second thing was for government to set up a committee for the implementation of the recommendations, to support the implementation of the recommendations in the report. And the third thing was government will provide resources. And in the implementation, there are things that government does, and by government I mean the executive. There are other things that independent institutions like yourselves, by act of parliament, have to do. I cannot tell the independent police complaint board what they should do, but we know that they should do something to ensure that there's more justice and it's clear in here. I cannot tell ONS what to do, but we know that ONS needs to do certain things to ensure that we are safe. And nor can I tell the other institutions who are here. So the reason why we're here is for me to officially, it's public information, but as part of my job in setting up this committee that will be supporting the implementation of the recommendations in here, it is part of my job then to engage with you, to present to you this report so you can receive it officially, and invite you to go back to your institutions and study these recommendations, prioritize them, rank them, make recommendations about what you can do today, what you can do in a couple of weeks, and what you can do in a few years. Some of them are going to be free, some of them are at zero cost. Some of them are going to require just management meetings or board meetings, and others will require legislative changes. Yes. So those, and I wanted to perhaps before we go around to hear whether you have any questions or reflections. I know you've not read it yet, or you should. But if you've not read it, I will give it to you so you can officially take it to your institutions. But I don't know if you have any questions about why we're here and what you are expecting.
Not specific ones, but generally, or in holistic sense, we didn't have any timelines for the implementation.
It's an excellent question. We will, as a committee, as government, do a timeline. But in part, what I would like for you to do is to read it yourself and sort it out based on your own timelines. Because there are things that are for your institution specific. And if you give me a suggested timeline, one output of this is once I give it to you, and let's say you study it over 2 weeks. Let's say by the end of July, we should have an initial timeline and a ranking of the recommendations and timeline and expectations. Then we'll work with you to make sure that we can parties. Because even though it's a report that didn't necessarily involve them in the development, but government was there to involve directly, indirectly. like for you to set up a meeting with all the parties and you present it back to them as PPRC. That would be your task. One extra work for you.
And they were requesting that they be part of the ISPC. And going through the ISPC's document, I saw a few instances in our elections, Security Management Committee. The PPRC is representing all political parties at the ISPC board. We are there. So whatever we discuss at the PPRC, they take back to the political parties. So not necessarily mean the political parties should be part of the ISPC.
Is that a recommendation?
They brought up to the answer that if I have not gone through it, but I'm sure it's part of it. State institutions, because you are in government before. The same state institutions, the same people you were working with, are the same state institutions that are there. So there is need for you to have confidence in state institutions if you really want to move the whole process forward. But if you do not have confidence in them, then it will not really work. That trust and confidence must be there.
If there's any quotes I was going to use, it would be that they have to strengthen state institutions. And just for everybody's own information, we have met with ECSL as well. So I've officially handed this to ECSL since I met with the entire board. I separated them from you. So I have given this to ECSL, and ECSL had received this. And now this was the rest of the organizations that were interviewed. As that process is what you conclude. So after today, we will have given to you back the document that you contributed in developing. So this is thanks to your work as well.
So the report was submitted
Return, bring
the report to His Excellency the President. We've moved some steps to actually go through the entire documentation, and we've been able to fetch out some possible areas of reform, and we've also been able to fetch out some areas that are really not too implemented. However, you presenting it to us today will also give us additional opportunity for us to make further input into it. I can actually remember vividly one of the recommendations requesting for the submission of the audited financial reports of PPRC. For us, we see it, the recommendation is actually provided for in the current Political Parties Act. By default, auditors will actually audit the Commission, and those reports are submitted to the House of Parliament representing the people of Sierra Leone. So it's a public document. So for us, we see that there's absolutely it doesn't fit well.
Some of them have already been done, and we thank you for doing that. That's going to I hear you.